I'm battling a cold here, so I sound like Miley Cyrus, so I'm sorry.
I, I was gonna say you got that like deep country singer's voice right
Yeah,
now.
I literally have been fighting this for like a week, but I was like, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Oh no. Ugh.
But
It sounds it has that like rustic sound to it. Sounds good.
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. And like we want to hear you anyway. Nobody wants to hear me, so that's
Oh.
fine. So I'll start by saying, welcome, Adele Fornarino. Thank you so much for coming on Jits and Giggles. My name's Elisa, by the way. I know we've been texting, but in case you didn't know.
Okay.
Um, Whew. All right. So for those that eventually tune in,
Really are fighting a cold, hey? Oh, you poor thing. Chicken, nothing that chicken noodle soup and some tea can't fix.
oh my God, I know. But honestly, my voice has been okay, but all of a sudden
Mm,
now, I don't know why.
mm.
But we'll let you talk. Okay. So we know a lot about you. I mean, you have pretty much won every single thing in both gi and no gi the past couple years. I would say myself and a lot of people have really started to understand who you are after your ADCC double gold. So that's when I feel like you were starting to blow up even more. But when I was telling some people that I was interviewing you, a lot of people I was just kind of gauge interest and gauge understanding. A lot of the consensus was nobody knows how you got your start. So I really think people would be interested in hearing how did you get into jujitsu and get all the way to being a high level competitor?
Yeah, it's funny because like I've been training jujitsu for 16 years, so it's not something
Wow.
that it's not something that I've recently started or something that I
Right.
just kind of came across. I've been doing this since I was 10.
So
But
crazy.
um, but I've been all the way in Australia, kind of just doing my own thing for a little bit. And then competing internationally here and there.
Yeah.
I competed the first time internationally when I was 16. Competed at Gi Worlds because I
Yep.
did the gi back in the day. I was a
Yeah.
heavy gi competitor.
I
There's a
saw
special
saw.
spot in my heart for the gi for sure. But yeah, won that when I was 16. Kind of that opened my mind to how big jiu-jitsu is, and I saw
Right.
how many people were there at the venue and how excited everybody was to watch these black belts compete.
Right.
Um, I originally started back in the day because when I was 10 years old, I wanted to be a police officer.
Oh wow.
So I thought, a martial art would help me chase down all the bad guys. I didn't really do any research whatsoever about what martial art was the best. Jiu-jitsu was the closest gym to me. It was just convenient. So, I could go there after school. Turned out to be a really good martial art and then
Wow.
fell in love with it. That's kind of like the origin story. It just happened. It was just coincidence after coincidence.
Imagine if you just walked into Aikido or something else instead. Where would you
That's
be?
exactly. I don't know. Probably doing Aikido,
Right,
probably.
right. That's amazing. So you originally started for the functionality of it, but then I'm assuming you just kind of realized, hey, I'm really good at this.
I'm just competitive. So I think I kind of fell in love with it because at the time I was the only girl in the class and I wanted to kind of prove that I could beat all the boys up and if the
I
boys
love
could
it.
do it, then I could do it. It was that kind of mentality and I wanted to be the best in the class. And then I competed at a very young age, at about 11 or 12. I competed for the first time. And again, like that competitive nature in me kind of came out and gold shiny things were pretty cool back then when I was young. I liked the, gold shiny medal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good thing because you won two of those gold shiny medals recently at
Thanks.
ADCC. So
Yeah.
I did a little research, but I remember you saying it actually when you were interviewed post ADCC because I was actually there because I'm friends with Amanda Levy. So I was there watching her.
Oh, she's a legend.
She's the best. And I saw
Yeah.
her and then my friend Daishi was competing.
Mm.
So we were right there. And I heard you say that you're the first Australian, right, to take
Yep.
home gold at Worlds, not just once, but twice in the same day. So that's freaking how cool did that feel?
It felt amazing. The closest we ever got was Craig getting second place.
Yep.
And I kind of feel like I now ruined the Australian reputation by instead of coming second place, I came first. I don't know. I feel like
Amazing.
I did some damage to the Australian reputation doing that. But hey, you gotta do
It
what you
was
gotta
worth
do.
it.
It was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Absolutely. So
But yeah.
you won first place in your division, which was
Mhm.
less than 55 kilograms,
Yes.
right? But then you
Yeah.
also won the absolute. You were like, one, not enough. Let me just jump on in. And what's really impressive, if people don't realize, is you were the smallest, lightest competitor in that division, and you won the entire thing going against a much larger competitor. Was that something you were preparing for that you kind of thought you might jump into the absolute?
Look, when Mo announced it on on his socials, it was something that I was definitely interested in, but it wasn't where we were putting our time in for the camp. Like we
Right.
were the sole focus was doing the division and making sure that everything was dialed in for the division. But like by default, you're doing a really good hard training camp and you're making
Um,
sure that you're at your physical peak for that division. So like I was going in there fit and strong and making sure I was feeling really technical and well rounded. But it definitely wasn't our intention. It was
yeah.
just kind of like at the end of my finals match after the 55 division, Mo came up to me with his clipboard and he's kind of like, so are we doing this? Are you going to do the absolute? Because you only sign up after
Right.
you're done competing. And I kind of looked at him and I looked at my coaches and I kind of looked at myself. I was like, well, I'm not injured.
Right.
Like there's no good reason for me not to. I have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Literally,
So
yeah.
I was like, why not? Let's do it. Like, let's go for it. But
Right.
definitely had these moments backstage. Like I had just finished my finals, went backstage, saw my parents, and I told my mom, I was like, oh, just by the way, I'm not done competing today. She was like ready to pop champagne and just enjoy the
Right, right.
celebrations. And I'm like, oh, wait, we're not done yet. Like I'm gonna do this absolute division. And before she could even think about it, the words that left her mouth was, "Don't get injured." That was it. She was just like,
There you
"Don't
go.
hurt yourself. Don't get injured."
Right, right.
It wasn't go out there and smash it. It was just like look after
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, which, that's typical good-natured mom, right? Making sure you're
Ex
okay.
exactly, exactly. But
Yeah.
I definitely had those moments of like what the fuck did I just sign up to? Was this a
Right.
bad idea? Am I gonna get hurt? But
Right.
like at the end of the day, I train with everybody on the mats. Like I definitely like will pick my training partners, but I train with high level black belts all day, every day. So it wasn't something that I wasn't used to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this the first time you went against somebody with such a high weight disparity at that level?
At that level, yes. So I'd done a couple open classes just through the different ranks,
Hmm.
but this was the first time as a black belt. It was the first time that I'd ever done an
Oh,
open.
okay. Okay.
But it was definitely the first time at such a high level that there was such a big like weight disparity between me and who was in
Right.
front of me.
But you have done open weight classes in other competitions.
Yeah, way back in the day when I was
Okay.
some of the lower ranks, I did some of the local competitions. The main reason was there just weren't many competitors in Australia, and I just wanted to get
Gotcha.
competition experience. So I would take anything I could get, and
Yeah.
sometimes that meant 20 kilo difference.
Right, because I've heard from some of the smaller grapplers that they don't like to sign up for the absolute for obvious reasons, right? It's like if
Mm,
you're the smallest girl in general, there's obviously a big advantage to somebody having a lot more weight that they can smash you.
mm.
Was that, it sounds like you're saying that was a fear. So what was your goal going in there, knowing you couldn't just smash and pass? What were you going to do to kind of use it to your advantage?
The strategy definitely changed. So between like the division, we had very clear strategies through the division for each of the competitors. Like I always refer to we because I had a big team of people behind me that were
Yeah.
helping me prepare and doing the like talking about the strategies behind like backstage, all that kind of stuff. So when we were going into the open weight division, it was very much like manage inside space, don't let them use their weight and their strength as an advantage, don't
Hmm.
feel the need to chase, and just kind of trust your jiu-jitsu was the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you obviously won against Bia. It was a bloody ending, I remember, right? A little bit of a bloody nose there. Is that what
There's
happened?
a little bit. So I had broken my nose in
Oh,
the very
gee.
first match I had in the Maisa
Oh,
match. As
okay.
there was a little bit of a wrestling exchange where I had like snapped her head down, no fault to her, but she like flicked her head back up and it clipped my nose.
Oh, okay.
This was in overtime in the very first match, I think, and
Okay.
it didn't bleed for a second, and then it just started absolutely like pissing with blood.
Oh
So
no. Okay.
we had to stop for a second, patch it back up. But then by the second day, like my nose was a bit swollen. It was sore. It was a little bit
Yeah.
like wonky. But when I was fighting with Bia, there was an exchange where I just kind of rolled over my face and I just had to like sacrifice my nose a little bit and then it just started bleeding.
Yeah, it just happened. Right.
Yeah,
So
but it made
as
some cool photos.
yeah, for real. Because as a fan watching, we weren't sure did that just happen but I saw your face getting smashed in the mat, but I didn't realize
Yeah,
you had already broken it earlier. That's insane. You're like,
yeah.
yeah, mom, sorry.
So it's
She's
all
like,
right. It's
I
all
told
straight
you.
now.
That's
It's
awesome.
straight.
They
Like my
fixed it
mom,
up.
well, I had cauliflower ear too, and it drove my mom nuts, so she made me get rid of it. So now I have nice, pretty ears and a straight nose. So
Nice. What did you do you
everything's been
get
fixed.
do you just drain it or you actually got surgery on the ear?
No, I actually had surgery. So this one was really bad. My left one was decently bad, and I had to get surgery on it. And they
Oh, wow.
cut down the back, fixed it up, made it look really pretty.
There you
So now
go.
I just tell people I have a really expensive ear now because it's all cosmetic.
Seriously. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that they could do that, honestly. So good to
If you
know.
get on it early enough, if you do it early
Okay.
enough, then you're fine. If you leave it and it hardens and that's when it's a bit harder to deal with.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So for the smaller girls that maybe are scared to do the absolute or don't think they have a chance, any advice for them to kind of get out there and get after it?
I think it's just like when you're in an absolute, pick your positions, stay safe in positions, but trust your jujitsu, stay aggressive. Like I have a very attacking style game, and that served a really good served me very well in those instances because anytime they would come in and try and crush, I would just try and find something to latch onto and break. And that's like in an open weight, it's a really good style to get
Yeah.
into. So like be a submission hunter, look to finish the match. I think that'll be really good.
Yeah. I mean, you're a testament that, the size limitation was not a limitation. Actually, you were advantageous because of your size. Okay, moving along, we have to talk obviously about the UFC Invitational because that's the biggest thing going on right now. Um,
Yes.
so that's coming up in a couple weeks now. So you're
2 and a bit weeks, 2 and a bit, yeah.
you're deep into camp right now. So
Yeah, yep.
I know you went against Fion during ADCC. What was that, like 2022,
2022. Yep.
right? You lost against her in 2022. It's your comeback moment. What are you and your team? I know you probably can't spoil too much, but what are you guys looking at to do differently this time around?
I think I'm a completely different competitor than I was. Like for me, I was a brown belt. I was what 21 at the time. It was my very first like massive event. It was the first time I was actually on the world stage to that
Right.
capacity. So there were so many things going on. There were so many things that I've learned in training camp, preparation, different people that I've added into my team that have made a massive difference. I'm coming in a completely different competitor. There's no it's like a different person stepping out there, that's for sure.
Gotcha. So Fion's getting a different Adele this time around. Uh,
Completely different competitor. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And once again, there is, a size difference here, not as maybe big as it was before, but there's still quite a size difference. Is that something your team's looking at actually using to your advantage?
Like always we try and find different ways to get advantages in these kind of things. There's some things that we're not in control of and a size disadvantage, we're not in control of it. All we can do is like I talk to my nutritionist and then we try and manipulate my weight to make sure that we're not coming in a disadvantage, that I'm not coming in super light, that I'm trying to be at the upper end of everything. But I think it's just depending on how you look at it. Everything that you can see as a disadvantage can also be flipped to an advantage.
Absolutely. Are you guys preparing for the basic bitch knee cut?
I need me one of those shirts. One of
Right,
those
right.
shirts. If she's selling this as basic bitch, I need one of those.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for anything. Honestly, like this has been a fantastic camp. We're prepared for,
It's awesome.
whatever's thrown our way. Yeah, I think what is really important for me is being a well-rounded grappler, like top, bottom, wrestling, leg exchanges, back control, whatever it's going to be. I feel confident with all the
Yeah.
different positions, ready to go.
Yeah. Are you planning on wrestling?
I might dabble in some wrestling. I don't know. I don't
You're
know.
like, I might not.
I might not. We're just gonna have to find out.
Okay, okay. I'll ask you something I think you could talk about. So you said you're a
Yeah.
completely different grappler, which I believe that to be true from what I've seen. What would you say is your biggest strength now that maybe was a weakness back in 2022?
Oh, that's a tough question. A strength now that was a weakness.
Yeah, or just you could look at it as your
Mm.
biggest improvement.
I think my biggest improve. I think the biggest changes that I've had are more mentally than physically.
Okay.
I think that my actual development of jujitsu is constantly evolving. Like I'm always
Hmm.
learning new technique, and that's important as a grappler. But I think that it, the more you get out there on the world stage, the more confident you get. The the more you willing you are to pull triggers and back yourself and trust your jiu-jitsu. I think that was a massive problem that I had early on was I wasn't pulling triggers as much. I
Yeah,
wasn't like I didn't back myself, and I think that that was a massive problem that I had
right.
because I was too scared to take risks and jump on things. But I think that that's significantly changed, and now like I go out there confident, and it's one of those situations of worst case scenario, there's going to be a scramble, and we're just going to go again, and then I feel a little bit more like relentless rather
Right.
than scared of being fatigued.
And how has that come about? Are you working with like a mental coach, or what has caused that change?
To be fair, I think it's just time. I think it's one of those things of like exposure. I think it's being in a tough training room also makes a big difference because you're getting humbled all the time. You're getting like any mistakes you made are being like made apparent to you, and you have to make constant adjustments with that. You also like when you're in a training room like that, if you don't take risks, you're going to get smashed day in, day out. You're never going to win exchanges. So
Right.
like definitely on the training mats, but talking to my team, like I've surrounded myself with people that are very supportive and are always open to having conversations. They know me quite well as a competitor. They know the things that I need, and sometimes that's a little bit of tough love, and sometimes that's a little bit more gentle. You're doing great. Like keep up the hard work. You're doing fantastic. Sometimes I need a little bit of just you're doing good. Like you're doing the things.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Sometimes you just need
Yeah.
a little bit of a pat on the back. That's it.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, you have to surround yourself with people that know how to speak to you and know how to lift you up in the way that's going to actually benefit you and your personality, right?
Absolutely. I've also been like I'm privileged that I have a lot of friends as well in the jiu-jitsu space that live the same lifestyle that I do. You know, I'm very close with Brianna St. Marie, and we get each other very well,
Yeah.
and you know, we'll talk back and forth if there's something coming up. We'll make sure to always check in with each other, see how each other's feeling, you know, talk through some of the things that are going on with the training camp, but having somebody like-minded, very close, like close in the sense of maybe not geographically, but
Yeah.
very accessible is also very helpful too.
Yeah. Speaking of Brianna St. Marie, I was going to bring her up because obviously we see you on social media. You guys are traveling together. Of course, right? You have very similar things going on right now. Have you guys
Yeah.
been close friends for a while? Is this a newer friendship?
So we met originally at the first ADCC I did, and we met because at the very first ADCC in 2022, there was this opening ceremony, and all of the athletes were on stage, and we were kind of around the mats, and we had to stand for like 20, 30, 40 minutes, and we were
Yeah.
dying out there, and we were supposed to compete later on that day. And me and Brie were standing next to each other, and we were complaining to each other, just like having a bit of a laugh. And all of a sudden, one athlete started sitting down, and we kind of looked at each other like, should we sit down? Where we're
Right.
going to get told off. And then some more athletes sat down, and we're like, okay, on the count of three, we'll sit down. And we're like, one, two, three, sit. And we just sat, and we're just being like troublesome kids, you know, we're just like
Right.
causing a ruckus.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the first time we met each other, and then we competed, and we didn't talk to each other for a while. Then I watched her compete at Nogi Worlds, and she smashed it. I think that was also 2022. I think I could be wrong, but it was probably 2022 that she won her first
Hmm.
black belt world title. I saw her there, and I congratulated her. And then just through mutual friends, we just kind of kept connecting. We always just ended up like seeing each other again, and then we ended up traveling through Brazil together, and now we're
Yeah.
just inseparable at this point.
That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, you guys are like-minded. You have a lot of the same stuff going on. It sounds like you have good humor, good banter.
Yeah,
It's like it's the best kind of people you want to be around, right?
yeah. There's
Um,
always love between the two of us for sure.
that's it's really cool. So you guys are both on the UFC Invitational. So two things I want to touch on. One, this is the first time two women are the main event. How do you feel about that?
Privileged. Like I feel like there were a lot of females before me that also deserve this opportunity. Um I don't think that I'm special in the sense of like I don't think that the people that came before me didn't deserve this opportunity, but
Right.
I'm very privileged to have this opportunity to really showcase female jiu-jitsu, to really, you know, put us on the map. Like
Yeah.
we have great jiu-jitsu, like men, female, it doesn't matter. Like we have
Right.
great jiu-jitsu, we have interesting jiu-jitsu to watch, and that's what we're out there to do.
Yeah, and that's obviously a big topic today, right? Is like women fighting for a place in jujitsu and almost constantly trying to prove that we're exciting and that people want to watch us. And it's like we're screaming
Yep.
like we want to be here. And sometimes people are like, "No, you don't." It's like we really do. Like just give us a spot.
Exactly.
I
Yep.
swear. And
Yep.
it's frustrating. And to your point, it's not like you and Fionn are the first women that ever want the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're clawing at getting the freaking opportunity. And I'm grateful though that you two agreed to it because I really do think this is going to be a huge, breakthrough for women in jujitsu. So, thank you for
Yeah.
doing it.
Well, the hope is that this is just one of many. Like
Yeah.
somebody has to be the first, and I am very privileged to have that. But we want to see it happen over and over and over again.
Yes.
Like there are so many women out there that deserve these opportunities and deserve to be put front and center at these events. And I'm very excited to see who the next person is that gets the opportunity is.
Definitely. Do you feel a lot of pressure because you are kind of breaking that boundary first?
Uh, to be honest, for that reason, no, I don't feel pressure in that way.
Hmm.
I feel more excited more than anything. When it comes to like putting on a good performance, there's pressure there, but that's not something I'm not used to. I feel the pressure, but pressure is a privilege. That's something that's been repeated to me time and time again, and it's something that right now I'm living by, which is pressure is a privilege, and it is.
Definitely. That's
Mm.
awesome. That's a great way to look at it. Now, do you and Fionn have any sort of friendship or have you ever really chatted?
She came to Australia for a little bit, and we hung out a little bit. I showed her where the good coffee spots were. We talked after the first ADCC. Like we're friends. We're quite
Yeah.
friendly with one another. Not to the same extent that I am with Brianna or anything like that, but
Right.
it's most of the girls on the circuit are at least friendly with one another.
Right.
Like there's not much bad blood that actually goes on around the circuit at the moment.
Right. Sounds like there's at least a level of respect throughout everybody.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you somebody that doesn't really want to be friendly with the person you're competing against, or does it not matter?
It doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. Like at the end of the day, I go out there to do my job. I've competed against my best friends. I've competed against people
Yeah.
that maybe I have disagreements with, that I don't necessarily agree with what they do. But at the end of the day, I'm out there to do my job. Like it's this fine line between like talking shit is great to get an audience, and I'm all
Hmm.
for pulling an audience, like what Jasmine Rocha does, for instance.
Yeah.
I'm all for her being a little bit cheeky and just like talking a bit of shit. And if she talks shit at me, I'll talk shit back at her. I'm all for having a bit of fun. But at the end of the day, as long as there's like mutual respect between the competitors, I'm happy.
Yeah, and I love that you said that because I had Jasmine on a couple weeks ago, or now maybe a couple months ago, and that's something her and I talked about is like people just take it way too seriously.
Yeah,
Talking to her and realizing what a good-natured person human she is. I'm
yeah.
like, you're playing a character. Not to say that she's not competitive. She 100% is, but like
Oh
you're
yeah,
playing it
absolutely.
up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people don't
But
realize that.
people love it though. People absolutely
Yeah,
love it, and that's the thing. Like she's cheeky. She knows she's cheeky. She knows that she's out there to cause a little bit of shit and talk a little bit of shit. But hey, people are watching. People are interested. Like people are all for it, and that's what's great about it. She'll get the views.
exactly. So now
Mm.
there's several other women on the card, including
Yeah,
Brianna St. Marie. I mean, very cool. I think it's like the most women we've seen on the card ever. I imagine
yeah,
that's going to be a very unique experience for you. I'm sure you're used to being on things like this and being one of just a few women, right?
yeah. 100%. A lot of the time they put one one as a throwaway match, just
Right.
because they want to be meet numbers kind of thing. But to
Yeah.
actually have a women dominated card is fantastic, and the matches are not throwaway matches. Like these are fantastic
Yeah.
matches. These are matches that everybody wants to see. You
Hell
have
yeah.
Brianna and Elizabeth Clay. You have like Helena and Maggie Granddaddy. You have Sarah and Cassie Moore. These are fantastic matches. These are matches that people really want to see and really interesting stylistic matchups. I think it'll be a fire card start to finish. I think everybody's been talking about just how stacked this card is, and I think it'll live up to the hype.
Yeah. So in the past few years, as you've been kind of coming up and getting more publicity and pretty much winning everything, did you have your eye on something? Like, is this something that you were looking to do, or what to you is like, that is my ultimate goal? Is this it?
I don't think one thing will ever be it. I
Yeah.
think it'll be a continuously moving thing. I think
Yeah.
what I want is to be undeniable. I want to be the best jiu-jitsu athlete that ever existed, male or female, doesn't matter. I want to be the best. I want to have that GOAT status. I want to do things that nobody's ever done and continue to do it for many, many years to come. I want to be the person that everybody's chasing. That's my aim.
I think you're on your way. You're very close to that, aren't you? Are you so when you were deciding that those are your goals, right? Did you have a plan to get there? Is your plan just basically saying yes and doing anything and everything, or do you have a specific plan to kind of work yourself up that scale?
Um, there's a little bit of both. There's definitely opportunities that just kind of come knocking, and you have to
Hmm.
jump at those opportunities. The first WNO match I ever had, I had 2 weeks notice on it.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say no to that. That was a
Right.
fantastic opportunity for me. Um, but some other things are planned out. Like we actively try and chase out matches to make sure that I'm staying consistent through the year. I
Right.
like to be an active competitor. I enjoy competing. Like I genuinely enjoy competing. It brings me a lot of like happiness. I enjoy the fight camp. That's not to say it's not tough, but I do enjoy going through that process. So staying consistent is something that's really important. And then just ticking off like the females on the scene that are on these ranked lists to really just kind of show my dominance through each weight division, each weight class, each rule
Right.
set, whatever it's going to be.
And do you have kind of like managers or people that are doing this for you, or is this something you're doing the research and figuring out where and when you want to compete?
A bit of both, bit of both. Like I'll sit down and talk with my coach and he'll have a pretty like heavy opinion on what he thinks should happen through the year. And I definitely take what he says and
Right.
will kind of act on that. I get the opinion of my manager. I definitely get the opinion of my partner. She weighs into it pretty heavily as well. She knows
Right.
what's what.
That's awesome.
Um, at the end of the day, I think what works best is because it's a team, we all kind of talk, like talk with one another and everybody shares their opinion. But at the end of the day, I have the final say.
Yep.
So that's like, and everybody understands that. And no matter what decision I make, my whole team will support me no matter what I do.
That's awesome. And then
Mm,
I wanted to talk a little bit about social media presence because I was talking to Jay Regalbuto actually. I don't know if you know who he is,
mm,
but he's an
mm,
ADCC judge. He's very
nice.
heavily involved in some of these high level competitors. And we were talking about just how important social media presence is these days. Like, in order to get some of these competitions and these invitations,
Mm,
you have to have a social media presence, whether you like it or not. Do you agree with that?
100%, absolutely. And it's something that I need to even pick up on. It's it's half the game, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, not in a bad way, but in a I wish it were that just the accolades and the skill itself would warrant the
Right.
opportunities, but it's not the case.
Right.
Like as a competitor, your job is to sell tickets. Your job is to put asses in chairs.
Yeah.
If nobody knows who you are, nobody's buying a ticket to watch you compete. You could be the best competitor in the world, but if nobody knows who you are, then it's really hard to draw an audience. So social
Yeah.
media is key to everything. It is like a little bit concerning seeing the kids doing the social media, starting it so young and being so
Right.
involved in that way. Like that does make me a little bit upset because I wish it weren't the case. But social media is definitely important for sure.
Yeah. And on that topic, I mean, we see parents creating social media for their kids, right?
Crazy. Oh,
And
it's
there's this
crazy.
fine line, at least
Oh,
I'll speak for myself. There's this fine line of like, I understand why they're doing it and they're doing it hopefully with good intentions, but then sometimes it's a little much. Like, these are little
yep.
kids and they're
Yeah, they
plastered
are.
all over the internet. It's,
With
you know,
hundreds of thousands of followers.
yeah,
It's crazy. It blows my mind.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm concerned to where the future is going to go with that kind of stuff because when is enough enough? Like, are
exactly.
these kids just going to be able to be kids?
Exactly. Now, has social media been something that you always kind of came natural to you, something you had to work towards?
Oh, definitely something I have to work on. Definitely.
Okay.
I think social media, like just staying consistent with it. The hardest thing for me is always writing captions. Like there are plenty
Mm,
of videos and photos and whatnot, but then I have to write a caption and I can never think of a caption. So I just kind of never end up posting things like that. I do enjoy like editing videos like that. I
yeah.
actually find quite fun.
Yeah.
And people like instructional content and things like that. And people like to interact. I do like the idea of like showing a bit of my personality on my social media, especially now that I have a little bit more traction and a few more people following me. Um, like I do want to kind of almost introduce myself to these people and show them who I am and what I do and
Right.
why I love what I do.
Right. And I'm sure it becomes exhausting sometimes. Like, sometimes you just don't want to have to share everything that's going on in your life, right?
Sometimes I just throw my phone away.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll post something and then I just have to throw my phone away for a little bit.
Right. And I know people personally who are, great jujitsu athletes and they're just not getting the recognition, they're not getting the following. Any like
Mm.
simple advice on how they can gain their social media presence?
I think just stay consistent with posting. I think it is like social media is an investment. So like it is a financial investment. So pay for the videographers, pay for the photographers, get somebody to edit some videos for you. It's a worthwhile investment because it will pay back in time. Spend an hour a day just either posting or interacting with your followers. and then just little bits and pieces just to show people who you are, like little stories through the day of what you're eating. Because people, I for me, it was like I didn't think people cared what I was eating for breakfast.
Right.
It turns out people are curious what I'm eating for
Yeah,
breakfast. So I'm
definitely.
like, okay, like just little things like that.
Yeah, and I think it builds, right? It's like the more people get to know you, the more they want to know about you. Like maybe
Yeah,
2 years ago, they didn't care what you were eating for breakfast, but now they do, you know? And then
yeah,
in a year from now, they probably want to know even more about you because you're more and more relevant, right? So
exactly.
very cool. All right, another topic I have to bring up is
Tell me.
daddy. We have to talk about it. I need to know.
Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
so first of all, are you familiar with Call Her Daddy, Alex Cooper?
Rings a bell. No, I don't
It's a
think I.
pod,
I don't
it's a
think I.
podcast.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I
She's
feel like
like
I feel like somebody else has brought it up before and
I
explained
think
it to me, but I can't for the life of me remember.
I believe she's the number one female-led podcast right now.
Really,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. So her show, just to update you, so her show's called Call Her Daddy, and the whole thing started because she's basically it was like a little cheeky, I'll use your word, a little cheeky thing, saying like, F the patriarchy, like call me daddy, like forget
Yeah,
calling a man daddy, right? And
exactly.
she blew up, and
Yep.
now she has like $100 million Spotify deal or something crazy. Like
Oh
she
yeah.
is the freaking daddy, right?
Let's
So
go.
you telling me you don't know who she is? I know you didn't get it from her. So how did this come about?
No, I didn't get it from her. I actually got it from a friend, Alanis, who I train with, back in Melbourne.
Okay.
I was getting ready for my first WNO match, and I was just kind of walking around the mats with this little like, I was ready, I was focused, I was locked in, I was serious, and she just kind of pulled me aside. She's like, "You're walking around with this like this daddy energy," and it just at the time it just made me giggle. I'm like, "That's hilarious. I love that." And
I
then
know
we
I
were
know who you're
just,
talking about.
yeah, yeah.
What's her name's girlfriend? Why am I drawing a blank?
Levi's
Thank you.
girlfriend.
Levi Jones.
Yes.
She'll love that I forgot him, right? No, but Levi's girlfriend. I'm like, what's his name? Whoever that
Yeah.
guy is. Levi's
Yeah.
girlfriend. Yeah, she's
The guy with the
awesome.
really good bolos.
Yes, yes, they're both awesome people. I met them briefly. Go on,
They're
sorry.
amazing. Yeah, they're amazing. But like Alanis is like that. She's like she comes up with these like funny like things that just stick in your brain. And one of them was daddy. And she's
I
like,
love
okay,
it.
there's daddy energy about you. And then we were just sitting down one day and we were talking about the press conference before WNO. And she's like, you got to do something funny. Like, you got to write something on your nails. I'm like, yeah, but what do I write? She's like, you got to write daddy on your nails. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Like, I think that's great.
It
And
is.
I liked the vibe of it. And it kind of rang true to what I'm like. And especially as a competitor, like that daddy energy of like going onto the mats and owning the mats and having that really dominant kind of style of jiu-jitsu. So it made sense. And then I told my manager, and my manager brought a hat for me. So when I did the press conference, I had the hat and the nails going, and everybody just
I
seemed to
love
love
it.
it. So it just kind of took off from there.
It's awesome. It's a great marketing tactic and it kind of just embodies your personality a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think it stays true to like who I am and what I'm like as a competitor for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Alanis.
Yeah.
She's
There's
she
always been
seems
good ideas.
Yeah, she seems very sweet. Actually, we went to the after party after ADCC Worlds, and her and
Mm.
Levi walked up, and I was like so nervous because I really wanted to say hello, but I didn't want to be a creep. And they were like in the same VIP section, and she was so sweet. Like she could have just said hi, but she was like, "Let's take a picture," and you just know good energy when you find it, right?
No, she's the best, honestly, and such a good training partner to have. Like she's been like pivotal in this training camp. Like she is great to have on the mat. It's very good, like stylistically fun to roll with as well.
That's really awesome.
Mm.
So just kind of wanted to end with getting to know you a little bit. We all know your jujitsu, but I assume you do other things outside of jujitsu every once in a while. So what are some things you do when you're not training?
When I'm not training video games, I do like a good video game.
Okay.
I'm like well into Call of Duty at the moment, the new Call of Duty 6. I'm enjoying that right now.
Nice. Nice.
I did dabble in a little bit of Fortnite. I know I'm gonna get a bit of hate for that, but I did dabble in a little bit of Fortnite. I did enjoy it,
Love it.
no shame. Just anything. I definitely, when I'm not training, like to do things that are not jujitsu. So I like, going on walks and playing other sports and just kind of taking my dog for a walk and eating good food is probably where I spend most of my time.
That's awesome. I was
Just
gonna
like,
say you have a dog, you said?
I do a
What
little like
kind?
Chihuahua Jack Russell. He's like
Oh,
yeah, this big, and he's more of a cat more than anything. He sleeps in the sun, and he's such a mellow dog.
wow, that's surprising because I always heard Jack Russells were like super high energy, right? A lot of them are.
Yeah,
So
yep.
you lucked
And
out.
a lot of them bark a lot, and a lot of them are like really nippy. But he's super mellow, super duper chill.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And you have a girlfriend, correct?
I do, I do.
Do you guys have
She's
any hobbies that you do together?
we video game together. Like we
Oh,
do
cool.
the best part about it is like we honestly do like everything together. Like
That's great.
we hang out and like she'll train jujitsu with me and come and hang out with me. But when we're not doing jujitsu, we'll watch movies, watch some TV. Like we're honestly like inseparable. She unfortunately has a proper adult job. She's a dentist.
Oh, oh
So
wow. Very
during the
cool.
day she's actually working. She's one of us needs to be responsible and it's not me.
Right. Yeah,
So she's the responsible one in the relationship. But yeah, but
that's amazing.
it definitely sucks being away from her.
Yeah.
Like when I'm traveling, when I'm doing the training camps, right now I'm in America at the moment, so being away from her does suck. But
Yeah.
it she supports me and always has, and has always steered me in the right direction and definitely like pushed me to chase my goals, which
That's
is like
awesome.
honestly one in a million.
And she's a dentist in Australia.
She is a dentist in Australia,
And is that where
yeah.
you guys, how did you meet through jujitsu or somehow else?
No, funny enough, through COVID, like during COVID, we met on Tinder.
Oh, oh my God. You were like literally the fourth person on my podcast that has met through Tinder. I am re-downloading that shit tonight. I'm
I'm telling you that
serious.
shit works because
It's
my brother just got
insane.
married 2 years ago and he met his now wife on Tinder. It's like the hit rate is crazy.
It's insane. Like, no lie, every person I've asked who told me they met someone on a dating app, it's always Tinder. And I don't know if you know, because obviously you're out of the dating game now, but Tinder is like, it's like the place you don't go unless you don't want to like come home that night and like
No, I think it's a bit
die.
seedy now. It's like a little
Right.
bit like yeah,
Right.
maybe Tinder's not the one. Maybe it's what like Bumble or what's the other ones?
Bumble or Hinge is like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, listen, it's still bad out here, okay, Adele, but you'll probably make it back home. But Tinder's like, you might want to bring a friend and have them in the
Yeah.
back of the restaurant, like with a pair of sunglasses on or something, or you might not make it home. So it's
Fair
shocking
enough.
to me that so many people have met their significant others. So, like, it does work.
It does work. I think the dating apps work. Like it's the modern style of, finding somebody nowadays. Everything's on the internet. But still, always with caution. I took a risk. I drove like 45 minutes away from my house to go on a hike with somebody that I
Oh my
had never
God.
met before. We ended up getting lost. So it was like I took a risk. She took me out in the
Wow.
middle of she took me out in the middle of buttfuck nowhere
That
and I had
is,
no idea where I was. No
that is a
reception, no
hell.
nothing.
That's a hell of a first date, Adele. You were like,
Yeah.
was it whose idea was it to go to the woods?
It was her. It was her idea. So I didn't end up coming back. But like, hey, I'd seen her profile and I saw her and she's pretty and she smells nice. So if I was gonna like get lost, it would have been
Yeah.
worth it.
This is also probably the difference between going on a date with a woman and a man.
Yep.
You can go on a date in the woods with a woman, but you really can't do that with a man.
No,
I mean,
now that I think about it, yeah,
you
that's
really
very
can't.
true. No, you
You
can't.
really
Hey,
can't.
that's so true.
You know what I mean? Because as you're talking to me, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I feel like if a woman asked me to go in the woods, like I probably feel like I could like make it out alive. But like I'm not going with like a 6 foot, 240 pound man, I just F that.
It doesn't
So
make sense. That's score one for lesbian. I definitely gotta like put that one in the that's
right.
one in the score one for
You're
lesbian
like,
box.
check.
Check.
Well, I'm very happy that you guys met and that Tinder actually does work. So shout
Yeah,
out
I
to
feel like
Tinder.
I feel like I need to be like sponsored by Tinder or like have some stocks in Tinder or something. They need to be hitting me
Listen,
up and giving me something for free.
Adele, Alex Cooper, who runs Call Her Daddy, is sponsored by Tinder. You could be the other
It's a match
daddy.
made in heaven. It's a match made in heaven. I'm gonna hit him up now. I'm gonna send him
You
an
know what I
email.
mean? Seriously. If you guys get married, I wonder if they'll send you like a plaque or something. I heard they do things like that now.
Oh, seriously? Oh, they have to. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
gonna hit him
write to
up.
them.
I'm gonna let them know. I'm gonna let them know. There you go. I didn't know that.
That's so funny. All right, I just want to end with obviously we know you have UFC Invitational coming up. Anything else
Mm.
for 2025 that we should know about that's already in the books or that you want to be in the books?
Nothing that I can announce, but definitely like I want to
Okay.
stay active this year. I want to. I'm looking at that double WNO title. Like I want to be a champ. That would be cool. I have every intention of wanting to do Gear Worlds maybe if the schedule works out, that'd be really cool.
Hmm.
I think I just want to stay active this year. I want to just get as many matches in as I can. I had a pretty busy 2024, and I want to have an even busier 2025.
That's awesome. What about CJI? Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, it would be great. Hypothetically, it would be
I-
very cool. I'd love to be a part of that event.
Uh-huh.
Hypothetically.
I just know we're gonna get an announcement somehow, some way. I'm gonna be messaging you like, you lied to me. I
We'll
hope,
see.
I
We'll
hope,
see.
I
We'll
hope,
see.
I
We'll
hope,
see.
I hope that's behind that smirk because I would love to see that. And then I know ADCC is a whiles away now, but will we see you return to ADCC Worlds in the future, I assume?
Well, because it's so long way, to be honest, we haven't. There hasn't been much discussion about it, but I have every intention of going back to ADCC because now, because it was an open weight,
Mm-hmm.
like we should have a super fight. The trick is always going to
You
be with the
know.
super fight because nobody won the year before me, so we're going to have to figure out what that means.
Right.
Which will be interesting to figure out. But like, yeah, I want to be at the next ADCC. I would love to
Yeah.
do a super fight and my division. I would love to do both.
I was just gonna say, because you're the type of person that would do both. So I was like, you're probably gonna do both, aren't you? I love that.
Why not? Why not? It'd be fun.
Very cool. I will definitely be there. So anything else you wanted to bring up? Any shout outs, sponsorships? Feel free to call it out.
I have a lot of people that support me. Like I said, like I have a massive team. Like my team itself, like Jake O'Driscoll, who's coaching me, Sarah Rafferty, who's my manager, and obviously Nev, who's my partner, who is just holds me together.
Yeah.
I always want to say a massive thank you to those guys. My team's back at home. I train at Dominance and Absolute, and they've been helping me heaps in this training camp and Atos here in San Diego. All the bodies on the mat, all the time that they've spent just keeping me really sharp. I'm always really appreciative of that. Hyperfly keeping me decked out in all the best training gear, like
Yeah.
unbiasedly, really, really high quality, good training gear that I, even when I wasn't sponsored by them, actually really, really
Yeah.
liked. And now I get to be sponsored by them and rep a brand that I actually truly believe in, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
My nutritionist, his name is Jordan, the fight dietitian, who also makes, which I conveniently have placed here,
Very
Train Aid,
nice.
which is his own kind of blend of an electrolyte drink, but Geordie does a whole bunch of the UFC athletes as well. He's very, very switched on. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, it's the fight dietitian. He puts out a lot of really cool free content. That just it's science. He doesn't put out any bro
Right.
science. It's all like actual academic peer reviewed stuff that works because he does it at the highest level.
That's great.
Bulletproof, who did my strength and conditioning program, who's making me feel like super duper strong, like especially going up a little bit of weight, like they're making me feel like it wasn't a difference in weight classes, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
I know I'm gonna leave somebody out.
I know that's
Thinking
how it
about
always
it.
goes.
I always leave like one person out and then I'm gonna like get into bed tonight and be like, oh shit, whoops, I left somebody out. But no, just my whole team. Like I'm very, very grateful for the people around me and the people that support me. And the sky's the limit if you surround yourself with people that truly believe in your mission.
That is very true. And you just reminded me, I was thinking, you're based in Australia, right? And
I am,
I mean, you're
yes.
doing a lot of traveling, and that's like no little freaking flight. Like that's like a whole freaking day.
Yeah.
Any plans? Because I mean, most of the jujitsu stuff going on is not in Australia right now. Any plans on moving, or are you gonna just keep traveling?
Well, right now, I'll keep traveling back and forth. It would be, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. Because Nev, my partner, she's a dentist in Australia. We'd
Right.
have to figure out a way to get her accreditation transferred over into America, which is always a bit of a tricky thing.
Yeah, that is.
Right now I'm not too fussed traveling back and forth. Like
Okay.
I'm used to the travel. I'm 5'3". I can sleep pretty, you know, horizontally on a
Yeah.
on an economy seat. I don't mind too much. And I'm used to it. Like now I got it down to
Yeah.
a science. I know how many movies to watch, when to sleep, when not to sleep, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um maybe in the future, maybe down the track, we'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, you're a trooper because those flights, they're no joke. But definitely helpful when, you can actually fit in the chairs.
It definitely helps. There's got to be some benefit to being small, like we were saying.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. That's all I have for you. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties.
No, don't be silly. No, it was heaps of fun. I appreciate you having me on today. It was
Yeah,
heaps of fun having a chat.
of course. I will be looking forward to seeing you in just 2 weeks here.
Oh, you okay? Cool. I get to actually catch up with you in person.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm just gonna watch it on TV,
Oh,
unfortunately.
dang. I was like, oh, you coming to Vegas? That'd be great.
I wish I was at Vegas like 3 times this year for ADCC stuff
Ah,
because I was working
dang.
with Browse, who sells the
Yep.
clothing, and then I
Yep.
went back for trials and then for World. So I
Oh,
was there
you
a
really
million
have been in and
times.
out. Hey.
I was
Okay, there
there a
you go.
lot. I was there for
Yep.
work, and then when Amanda and my friend Daishi got announced, I'm like, we're going. Me and my friend Yara were
Yep.
like, we're coming. So I mean, I hope I get to catch you in person though. I don't know, the next
100%. One
some
day we
next
definitely
time.
get to catch up, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. It was so great talking to you.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.